My stepmother's cruelty growing up, family was supposed to be a source of love and comfort. A place where one felt safe, understood, and protected. But for me, the reality was quite different. My father remarried when I was 10 years old, and my life changed drastically the moment my stepmother entered our home. At first, I tried to convince myself that things would be fine, that love and kindness might eventually grow between us. But as days turned into months, I realized that her presence in my life was not a blessing but a source of constant fear, humiliation, and sorrow. From the very beginning, it was clear that she did not like me. I could see it in the way she ignored me at family gatherings, the way her voice would become sharp and cold whenever she addressed me, and the subtle gestures that spoke louder than words. While my younger siblings, born to her, received care, warmth, and encouragement, I often felt invisible. Her cruelty was not always overt. Sometimes it came in quiet, cutting remarks about my behavior, my studies, or even my appearance. At other times, it erupted in loud arguments where I would bear the brunt of her anger for mistakes I had not even made. One incident remains vividly etched in my memory. I had spent days preparing for my school exam, hoping to make my father proud. I woke up early, reviewed my notes, and even skipped breakfast to make sure I would be ready on time. However, when I went to ask my stepmother for my lunchbox, she snatched it from me and threw it aside, saying harshly, "Why do you always expect special treatment? Stop acting like you are the only one in this house." I tried to explain myself, but she dismissed me with a wave of her hand and muttered something about how I would never amount to anything. That day, I walked to school hungry and defeated, my heart heavy with the injustice of it all. Her cruelty was not limited to physical acts or neglect. Emotional manipulation was her specialty. She would praise my siblings excessively, often in front of me, highlighting their accomplishments while subtly undermining mine. "Look at how talented your sister is," she would say, "maybe if you tried harder, you could be like her." Every compliment she gave was a dagger disguised as encouragement. It was as if my existence was a constant reminder of her displeasure, and no matter what I did, it was never enough. I tried to talk to my father about her behavior, hoping he would intervene. But he was a man who avoided conflict at all costs. He believed that a little strictness was part of raising children, and he often brushed off my complaints, saying things like, "She means well," or, "You need to be more patient." His inaction made me feel isolated. Not only did I have to endure the cruelty, but I also had to bear it silently, knowing that the one person who should have protected me was unwilling or unable to do so. Life at home became a daily struggle. Simple joys like enjoying a meal, sharing a laugh, or even relaxing in my own room felt impossible. My stepmother controlled everything with an iron hand. She would dictate what I wore, what I ate, and even who I could talk to. If I dared to step out of line, even slightly, her punishments were harsh and disproportionate. Sometimes, it was verbal humiliation, where she would call me worthless or accuse me of being ungrateful. Other times, she resorted to more tangible punishments, such as withholding meals or restricting my access to basic comforts. School became my only refuge. It was a place where I could escape the constant tension at home and immerse myself in books, friends, and learning. Teachers often praised my dedication and intelligence, but even their kind words could not fill the void created by her cruelty. I longed for the affection that a mother should give, a warmth that was missing in my life. I observed other children, who had loving parents and felt an aching emptiness, wondering why I had been deprived of something so fundamental. Despite the challenges, I tried to cope by building resilience. I reminded myself that her cruelty was a reflection of her own insecurities and not my worth. I learned to find small joys in life, reading, drawing, and dreaming of a future where I would be free from her tyranny. I sought comfort in friendships, mentors, and teachers who treated me with kindness. Their support became my lifeline, a reminder that there was goodness in the world, even if it was absent at home. The psychological toll of living with a cruel stepmother was significant. I became cautious, always walking on eggshells, fearing that any misstep would provoke her wrath. My confidence took a hit, and I often doubted my abilities. Yet, these hardships also taught me important life lessons. I learned patience, perseverance, and the importance of self-worth. I realized that cruelty from others does not define who I am, and that my happiness should not depend on her approval. There were rare moments when I glimpsed the person she could have been, if only she had chosen kindness over cruelty. Occasionally, I would see her smile at my siblings or hear her voice soften when speaking to them. These moments, however fleeting, reminded me of the disparity in treatment and intensified the pain of exclusion. I understood that her cruelty was not constant, but its unpredictability made it even more difficult to endure. Over time, I grew stronger, both emotionally and mentally. I focused on my studies, determined to create a life independent of her influence. I dreamt of a day when I could leave the house, pursue my passions, and live without fear of verbal abuse or neglect. Every challenge I faced under her harsh rule became a stepping stone, shaping me into a resilient individual. Looking back, I realized that her cruelty, as painful as it was, taught me valuable lessons about empathy and strength. I learned to recognize toxic behavior, set boundaries, and advocate for myself. I developed compassion for others who endured similar hardships and a determination to break the cycle of negativity. While I do not condone her actions, I acknowledge that enduring them has made me more aware, stronger, and more empathetic. In conclusion, living with a cruel stepmother was a profound challenge in my life. It tested my patience, resilience, and emotional strength. Her cruelty manifested in many forms: verbal abuse, neglect, emotional manipulation, and favoritism, but it also shaped me into the person I am today. I learned to navigate a difficult environment, find solace in education and friendships, and develop inner strength that no one could take away. While her presence brought pain and hardship, it also gave me a unique perspective on life, teaching me lessons that continued to guide me toward compassion, resilience, and self-respect. Even though those years were filled with sorrow and struggle, I emerged stronger. I understand now that cruelty does not define my worth, and that my happiness is something I can build with my own hands. My stepmother's cruelty was a chapter in my life, not the whole story, and I am determined to write the rest of it with hope, love, and courage. This is roughly 2,000 words when fully expanded with dialogue, inner thoughts, and minor additional anecdotes. I can also add detailed real-life incidents and conversations to make it more immersive, almost like a memoir-style story. This will make it more engaging and emotional for reader.